Welcome to the channel. This is Dollar for Dollar. My name is Heather. Thank you so much for joining today. And on this channel, I provide financial tips and tricks so you can achieve financial freedom. Let's talk about debt repayment. There are two main schools of thought when it comes to your repayment plan for debt, and we're going to talk about both of them. We're going to share the pros and cons right now. So let's start with the debt snowball method. Debt snowball says you need to list out all of your debts in order of smallest balance to the largest balance. So for example, if you have 3 different kinds of debt, let's say you have a credit card, a car loan, and a student loan, you would prioritize paying those loans off based on the amount you owe. We're not talking about the original loan amount or interest rates, strictly how much you owe. So super easy numbers here. Let's say the number is $1,000, $5,000, $10,000. With the debt snowball method, you would start with that $1,000 balance, then you would move to the $5,000 balance, and then the $10,000 balance. But why? The primary reason they say list it out by smallest to largest is so that you can have quick wins, quick victories along the way. Now with the debt avalanche method, you're going to actually list out all of your debts, prioritizing your interest rates. So you're going to start with your largest interest rate and work your way down. So if you have an 18% interest rate and that's your highest interest rate, you're going to start by tackling that debt first, regardless of the amount you owe. It can be a really large number or it can be a rather small number. It does usually mean you're going to pay off your debt faster in the long run, and you will save yourself a bit of money in the end because you're prioritizing those larger interest rates first before you work down to maybe something like a 4% interest rate, for example. Now, the one downside to going that route versus the debt snowball is it can take longer to hit your first win for you to see that instant gratification. Because again, if you're going by interest rate and one of your smaller balances only has a 4% interest rate, it's going to be lower on your priority list than say maybe a debt that's got $15,000 on it because it's got a higher interest rate. So it will take a little more time. Regardless of the method you choose, the one thing you don't want to include in your debt repayment plan is your home mortgage. That's a whole separate issue and a whole separate topic on how you tackle that. So avoid including that here because it will really delay your progress. We're just looking at our consumer debts when we're talking about a debt repayment plan. In both cases, with the snowball and the avalanche method, you always want to prioritize one debt at a time. So what you'll do is you'll make minimum payments on all of the debts you are not currently focusing on, and you will put all of your extra income, all of your extra discretionary money towards that debt that you are focused on, whether it be balance-based or whether it be interest rate-based. And once you tackle that first debt, you move down the list and you move on to your second debt. Now that you've removed a debt, you should ideally have some more discretionary income to work with. So in theory, you will move a little faster the further you go through your debt repayment journey. So like I already mentioned, the main advantage to the avalanche method is that you're prioritizing the math versus the psychology of a small win here and there. So you actually can save yourself some money and some time in the long run. However, if we know anything about humans, we do understand that the reason we got into debt is because we were lacking discipline. Humans can be extremely irrational with their decision making, and especially when it comes to money. So we got into debt because we made poor decisions. With that being said, it doesn't mean that you're forever doomed to make poor financial decisions and that you will always have debt or you will end up going through these terrible cycles of going in and out of debt. It just means we have to realize that we got here for a reason, and we need to be mindful of the fact that it is easy for some of us to go right back into that same habit and make those same mistakes again. Because really, when we say personal finance, we're not talking math. We're really talking about our behavior. It's the actions we take. And again, if we were being completely rational human beings when it comes to our money 100% of the time, nobody would ever have debt. So, with that being said, there are some great pros to the Avalanche method. However, there is one upside to the Snowball method that the Avalanche method does not compete with. And that is, again, the psychology of hitting those wins, getting those milestones early in the process, because it'll keep you motivated to keep going. And according to a recent survey done by Value Penguin, they found that roughly 45% of Americans carry credit card debt month to month. So if this wasn't an issue, and if we were all able to just do some math and get out of debt, we wouldn't have nearly half of Americans carrying credit card debt every month. Now, the method that you end up choosing is completely up to you. I will say, however, you need to keep in mind two special considerations. The first being, if you are unemployed or you're expecting unemployment to happen in the near future, or things are rather unstable with your income, you really need to focus on getting a solid emergency fund in place. Because what's more important than paying off your debt right now is survival. And you want to make sure you're going to have money for food, water, your home, and utilities. That is absolutely essential so that you can get through month to month during this transition. And the second consideration is 0% interest rates. So for example, if you have a credit card right now with a 0% interest rate and it expires in 6 months, I would suggest that you go ahead and pay that now versus waiting and adding it later into either your Avalanche or your Snowball when you have an interest rate attached to it. Then, after I've tackled my 0% interest rate, I would then move into a debt repayment strategy. That's just my personal opinion. I've never been in that situation because I've only had one debt I've had to apply this to. But I would say, looking at the numbers, looking at what you're going to do for yourself in the long run, that could really save you some hassle along the way. And obviously, while you're paying off your debt, the last thing you want to do is sabotage your efforts and start adding more debt. So don't do that to yourself. Don't rack up a balance on a card that you are already paying down. Just don't do it. It'll be the worst thing you can do, and you will see your motivation go away faster than Little Debbie snacks at a Weight Watchers meeting. So again, at the end of the day, the method that's best for you may not be the best for somebody else, but you need to pick something that you will stick with. So thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful in any way, please give it a like and let me know in the comments below, have you used either of these methods before, or if you're looking to make a debt repayment plan, if you're working on that strategy, which one do you think you will use? I'd love to know. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you on the next video.